Good morning again, and welcome to the Shelby Votes Virtual Job Fair. My name is Frankie Dakin, and I serve as Special Assistant to Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris. The Office of Mayor Lee Harris is absolutely thrilled to be here with you today, and that you've taken an interest in serving our community by helping deliver a free and fair election with accurate results by working as a poll worker. We're also very grateful to our Shelby Votes partners, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Memphis Urban League, Choose 901, and our media partner, Local 24 and CW30 News Memphis. We will keep today's event as brief as possible and respect your time while giving you the information you need to apply to be a poll worker on Election Day, November 3rd. To that end, you can expect us to be done by 11:15, and you can find an agenda in the chat as well as on your screen right now. If you have any questions about being a poll worker, I encourage you to type those in the Q&A at the bottom middle of your Zoom window, and we will do our best to get to your question before we close out today's job fair. And before we hand it off to the Election Commission to provide more information about the poll worker positions available, you have an opportunity to hear from one of our partners, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, who recorded a welcome message for today's event. After Coach Jenkins speaks, you will hear from Mayor Lee Harris himself, and finally, Election Commission Administrator Linda Phillips. And now, a brief welcome from the head coach of our hometown Memphis Grizzlies, Coach Taylor Jenkins.
Good morning. I'm Taylor Jenkins, head coach of your Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are thrilled to partner with the Office of Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris on the Shelby Votes Virtual Job Fair. Thank you for your interest in serving the Memphis and Shelby County community as a poll worker or absentee ballot processor on Election Day, November 3rd. We share Mayor Harris's goals to encourage Shelby County residents to vote in this election and do what we can to promote a free and fair election with accurate results. We applaud Mayor Harris on his efforts to do just that. But I also want you to know that the Grizzlies are not sitting on the sideline this election year. This is beyond basketball. This is what matters most right now. So far, the Grizzlies have worked with the Election Commission to identify opportunities, such as voter registration drives, to serve the Memphis and Shelby County community. Just 2 weeks ago, we held a drive-through voter registration event at FedEx Forum, and we're not done yet. We believe that we all have a role to play in this election. First, we all have a responsibility to vote, but you all are here because you're interested in getting in the game in a different way as a poll worker. That's why I'm so glad we have the Election Commission here to talk to you about the role and how to apply and what they are doing to create a safe voting experience for Shelby County residents. We all know that this election is like none before. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and the role of the poll worker comes with new risk. There's no doubt about it. But with any risk, there are ways to prepare to mitigate that risk. Trust me, I know. I just spent a few months of my life in a bubble. Again, I thank you for being here and encourage you to apply to be a poll worker this election day, November 3rd. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to the mayor of our great county, Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris.
All right, thanks a lot to the Grizzlies, particularly head coach Taylor Jenkins for his welcome remarks. The Grizzlies have been a great partner and we appreciate them for their Grizz Votes program. In fact, our very own Memphis Grizzlies has been a resource for voter information, for engaging and informing, and the team has been an advocate for voter access. Thanks to our other partners, Choose 901, the Memphis Urban League, and our media partner, of course, Local 24, for what they have done to get the word out. After we hear from Linda Phillips, just a reminder that we are blessed to have closing remarks from the president of the Memphis Urban League, Tanya Bayman. So please stick around for that. Shelby Votes is part of Shelby County government's program to do just that, to encourage our residents to vote. Voting is critical this year because we have both federal and state offices on the ballot. This is a presidential year, and so that means we will also be choosing the individual that will be leading this country for the next 4 years. Shelby County is a critical community in Tennessee. We have more registered voters here than anywhere else in our state. In fact, we have over 100,000 more registered voters than the next best county, which is Davidson County or Nashville. So with 550,000 registered voters here in Shelby County, we want to make sure that we are heard and that our community is heard. We want to make sure that we vote, and we want to make sure that we vote safely and that we are prepared for a massive turnout here in Shelby County. That's why we'll need poll workers, and we'll need absentee ballot processors. That's why the Election Commission has been hiring for months, but they still have hundreds of available positions left. That's why we're hosting this virtual job fair, to make sure you get the information you need and to help the Election Commission recruit the staff they need to deliver a free and fair election with accurate results. We're glad that you have joined us today and are interested in earning a paycheck, but more importantly, your presence virtually today demonstrates that you're interested in serving the community this election day, November the 3rd. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Linda Phillips. She is the leader of the Shelby County Election Commission. Linda began her tenure in that role in 2016, and she has done a lot of remarkable things to engage the community, and she has been really active and devoted to public service and community service since she has arrived in town. And so with that, I would introduce and welcome Linda Phillips, Administrator of the Shelby County Election Commission, for more information on available positions. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor Harris. It's my pleasure to participate in this today, and I appreciate the efforts, and I appreciate all of you having signed up. So I'm going to go through some of the process. So, Frankie. So I hope that you all will become a poll worker. If you don't meet the qualifications for this election, please vote in the primary of your choice so that you can work for us in future elections. Okay, poll workers are paid a total of at least $190 for the mandatory training and on election day. To be eligible to become a poll worker, you must be a resident of Shelby County, and you have to be at least 17 years old. Now you might say, wait, I thought you had to be 18 to vote. That's true, you do, but we do accept high school students. High school seniors or people who are at least 17. Of course, with their parents' permission and their school's permission, they can work on election day as well. If you are 18 or older, you must be a registered voter. You must attend training. Some of it will be online, but some of it is hands-on. You know, you can't really learn to operate election equipment unless you actually have done that. On election day, you'll work from 6 a.m. until about 8 p.m. or until the precinct work is finished. And you must meet the requirements of your respective political parties. Poll workers are evenly divided between the two major parties. So to be approved by the Democratic Party, a potential worker must have voted a Democratic primary ballot in 3 of the last 5 primary elections, or you be newly registered in Shelby County. Or if you've only lived here a year or so, you voted in at least 1 primary. Now, if you consider yourself a Republican, to be approved by the Republican Party, a potential worker must have voted a Republican primary ballot in 2 of the last 4 primary elections, or again, be newly registered in Shelby County or have not lived here long enough to have met that. Now, we need you. For November 3rd, we still need 600 poll workers, about 400 Republicans and 200 Democratic. Now, let me tell you a little about the positions. The machine operator, this person assists voters at the voting machine and staffs the signature list table. You know, if you voted, you go and when you sign your name on the signature list, then someone directs you to a machine and takes your ballot application. That's the machine operator. The judge registrar position, the registrar operates the electronic poll books and verifies voters before sending them to the voting machines. Now, the judge part of that is one person who's a registrar will also be designated as the judge. That person has to be the opposite political party of the officer of elections. And a judge then is certifying documents. Then the paperwork clerk, this is a registrar who's had some additional training, who gets paid a little more, and assists voters who need to change their address or vote using a provisional ballot. And again, workers are paid a total of at least $190 for mandatory training and on election day. Some workers, if they've been designated to do driving back with the officer with the materials, they get an additional $10. The paperwork clerks get an additional $15. Now, you might be concerned for your safety. I want to assure all of you potential workers that we have done everything we can to make these polling places safe. The personal protective equipment is provided for the poll workers. We provide masks, gloves, face shields, and there's plexiglass barriers between you and the voter. All of our locations are large enough to ensure social distancing, and we provide masks, individual pens, and hand sanitizer for voters. So, are you ready to apply? Go to shelbyvote.com and then go to the poll workers tab. You can complete an application. You can mail or email the application back to the Election Commission and email us. We have a special email just for poll workers. It's pollworkers@shelbycountytn.gov. Fastest way to get your questions answered is to shoot us an email. All right, now this is what the website looks like if you've never been on shelbyvote.com. There's a tab called Poll Workers, and then the third item in that list is the poll worker application. Just click on that and a fillable PDF form will appear. So this is what it looks like when you fill it out, when you pull it up. You can fill it out online. You need to print it, scan it, and email it to us, or you can print, sign, and mail it to us. All right, any questions?
Thanks so much, Linda, for the presentation. We do have a number of questions, but I just encourage you, if you do have a question and you have not used the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, to go ahead and do that now. And we're going to try our best to get around to at least 4 or 5 questions today. But also, if you have a question after today's event or a question that was not answered, we encourage you to email the Election Commission at that special email address at pollworkers@shelbycountytn.gov. You can also call the Election Commission Staffing Department at 901-222-6830. So Linda, if you don't mind, we can go ahead and get into some of these questions that have came through. So the first question came from Deborah, who joined us, and she said, is there a way to double check how many primary elections in which you voted?
The easiest way would simply be to call us or email us at 222-6830. We can look you up in our voter registration system, or if that number is going to be really busy. So try 222-1200, and anyone who answers the phone should be able to look you up in the voter registration system and tell you what primaries you voted in.
Thank you. The next question we have from Kenneth, who I'm glad that it looks like he's already submitted his application. We encourage you to be like Kenneth, and we've posted the application link in the chat, and you can go ahead and fill it out and submit it via email or mail today. But Kenneth has already submitted his application, Linda, and he wants to know, is there a way that he can verify that it's been received and processed?
Did you submit it by email?
Let's see. I don't know if he has an opportunity, but let's say he submitted it by email first.
Okay, if you submit it by email, we send you a return email and said that we got it. If you mail it to us, probably our first contact will be if we call you.
Okay, great. So we had a very similar question. So once I submit my application, should I wait for a call from the election commission, or should I just call the election commission?
I would suggest waiting a few days because the respective parties need to approve your application. So that generally, sometimes they do it quickly, and sometimes it takes them a few days.
Okay, great. So we have another really great question. So if I am a poll worker that day, will I have an opportunity to vote on election day?
Well, it depends. If you have been assigned to your home precinct, then yes, you can vote. If you've been assigned to a different precinct, then you'll need to either vote absentee by mail, which you can do. That's one of the reasons you can vote absentee by mail in Tennessee, is being an election worker, or vote early.
Great. Yes, and we definitely encourage everyone to get out and vote early. Early voting is starting right around the corner. Great. So another question, you went over a number of job positions, and Barbara is wondering if you can specify which job you want.
You can, but what happens with those jobs is that people generally switch off during the day. When you're trained, your training is focused on one particular activity, but you touch on the other jobs as well. So everybody knows something about every job. And usually the officer who's in charge of it will assign and move people around during the day so that you get off your feet for a little while, or when you're taking lunch, somebody else is covering for you. So.
Great. Thank you. Teresa asked a question about training. So how do you complete the training? How long is the training? Can you tell us just a little bit more about the training that poll workers receive?
Okay, the training happens at, we move training. Normally we used to do it at our operations center, but the training has been moved to the code enforcement training room, which is a much larger facility, so we can have appropriate social distancing. Training is about 3 hours. Some of it is filmed that you'll watch. Some of it is hands-on. And we have classes morning, evening, Saturdays, afternoon. So yeah, we have a lot of different classes that fit your schedule.
Thank you. So, and I believe you covered this, Linda, but in the safety precautions that you are taking, but someone's just curious if they would be provided personal protective equipment for the day. Okay.
Yes, we are providing
what that PPE looks like.
We have masks, face shields, gloves. For people that don't like gloves, we have long plastic bags that you can put your hands in if you need to. And there's plexiglass barriers between the voter and the worker. So yes, and we provide all of that.
Thank you, thank you. And we'll have time for about 2 or 3 more questions, some really great questions coming in. So this question comes from Michelle, who's a returning poll worker. So thank you so much, Michelle, for your service in previous election years. Michelle asked that she has submitted an application, but it's been about a year or so. Does she need to apply again for this election?
If you submitted an application a year or so ago, I would recommend giving us a call, and you probably will need to resubmit it, but maybe not. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. So a lot of interest in the absentee ballot processor position, administrative fields, particularly just what that job responsibility looks like. Can you tell us a little bit about what the job responsibilities are of the absentee ballot processors?
Well, it's very similar to working. We'll be counting ballots at FedEx Forum. The majority, and the political parties nominated people for those positions, and I believe that they are mostly filled. There may be a few that we need to fill in, but the day begins at 6:45 in the morning. You will have had training. It's an online training that has to be watched before you get there. And you'll show up at 6:45 in the morning at the FedEx Forum. You will have to provide photo ID. The security that we're having in that building is very tight, so you'll need to have a photo ID with you. You cannot have your cell phone. Absentee ballot counters must be parted from their cell phones for the entire period of time, because you are handling actual ballots and we don't want any of the results released until the end of the day. But the people who are counting absentee ballots are, it's a process. You're paired with a member of the opposite party, which will be your new best friend because you're going to spend the entire day with them. And you will, basically count ballots. Then you'll remove the affidavits. You'll open the ballot secrecy envelopes. You'll remove the ballots and flatten them and count them again, because we have very, very tight control over the ballots. If there's 300 ballots in your bin, then by the time we get to the end and they've been scanned, we want to make sure that there are 300 ballots that have been scanned. So it's a time-consuming process, but kind of fun. Again, but for those of you who can't imagine spending 12 hours without your cell phone, this is not your job.
Well, 12 hours without a cell phone sounds actually really nice. So you brought up a good point, which will segue into our last question today. And again, I encourage you, if you did not have your question answered, on your screen right now, you can email the Election Commission at pollworkers@shelbycountytn.gov, or you can call the Election Commission directly at that number, 901-222-6830. So Linda, our last question is about how long the shift is. Are poll workers provided with breaks throughout this day, or is it just a sprint?
No, normally you get some breaks. That's up to the officer in charge of each election. But yes, you'll need to bring some food. And you can, there are breaks, but again, a lot of it depends on the ebb and flow of the voters. But we have enough people scheduled that you should be able to get a break, even if we are crazy busy on election day.
Well, thank you so much, Administrator Phillips. If we could all just give Administrator Phillips a virtual round of applause for being with us today and taking time out of her busy schedule. As you know, election's right around the corner, and I'm sure she's one of the busiest folks in Shelby County right now. So again, if you have any additional questions, you can always email them to pollworkers@shelbycountytn.gov. And now it's my privilege to introduce one of our partners for today to close out today's event. So we're going to get completed a little bit before 11:15. Our partner, President and CEO of the Memphis Urban League, Tanya Sesley-Bain. We are so grateful for the partnership with the Urban League. Their organization envisions a city where all people are empowered towards self-sufficiency and share in the city's prosperity and well-being. And we all believe that a free and fair election lends itself to that vision. So without further ado, Mrs. Tanya Sesley-Bain.
This has been awesome with great information. Thank you, Mayor Lee Harris and the Shelby County Commission for putting on this virtual job fair. And to my fellow partners, the Memphis Grizzlies, Choose 901, and Local 24. We are all in this together. This virtual job fair comes with so many positive elements. The employment opportunity for our citizens, the hiring of over 1,800 poll workers and 300 absentee ballot processors, not to mention the economic boost to Memphis and our communities. But the recruitment effort to adequately staff the polls in an effort to ensure accurate results is paramount. So again, thank you, Mayor Lee Harris and the Shelby County Commission for being on the forefront to increase and encourage residents to vote, and for your funding of close to $400,000 to accommodate the absentee ballots. Across this nation, everybody's looking forward to this day with some uncertainty. So thank you for your efforts to ensure a fair and accurate voting process. So thank you, and I encourage our citizens to apply for this great opportunity to take a hands-on approach in this voting process. Voting is a privilege. There is power in the vote, and I encourage each of you. It takes all of us. Let's exhibit our power and let's get out to vote. So again, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. It has been my pleasure to partner with you on this. Thank you for the work that you do and the service to Shelby County. Let's get out to vote.
Thank you so much to the President and CEO of the Memphis Urban League, Mrs. Tanya Sesley Bayman. And for all of you to joining today, you can apply now. We've got the link in the chat. You can also visit shelbyvote.com, and we encourage you to get your applications in, and we encourage you to vote. Election day is right around the corner. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.